Have you ever noticed how life seems to repeat itself? Same emotions, same reactions, same results, no matter how badly you want to change? What if the reason you're stuck isn't out there, but within three forces running your life on autopilot: your environment, your body, and your relationship with time? Today, we're breaking those loops so you can finally step into the quantum version of yourself that already exists. Welcome to the Built for Impact podcast. I am Jake Burhans, and this is the podcast where inner peace meets high performance, and where building your dream life starts from the inside out. Every week, we are going to be breaking down a portion of the Built framework, which is break limiting beliefs, upgrade your operating system, imagine your new life, let go of the past, and transcend into your highest self. In this episode, we're going to be diving into one of the most important teachings in transformation. This is from the great Dr. Joe Dispenza, his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. He talks about this a lot. How to overcome the big three. So we have our environment, body, and time, so you can stop recreating the same life and start consciously creating your future. So the first one to overcome of the big three is your environment, overcoming your environment. So to change your reality, you must stop letting your external world dictate your internal state. So here's the thing. We go throughout our day, same surroundings, same people, same routines. They're triggering the same thoughts and feelings, which end up reinforcing the same outcomes. How is that possible? Because our thoughts and our emotions are actually electromagnetic signals to the quantum field that create our reality, right? As Joe Dispenza would say, our thought is the electrical signal out into the field, and our emotion is the magnet that draws it in. So if you're going through the same routines, getting the same coffee at the same spot, talking to the same grumpy barista, going into work, seeing the doorman and he's upset, and someone at work triggers you in the same way, and your spouse this or that, right? Everything is triggering you in familiar ways. So it's causing you to think certain thoughts. Those thoughts could be guilty thoughts, they could be frustrated thoughts, angry thoughts. Maybe you're worrying about stuff constantly because you have a boss who is putting a lot of pressure on you. That's creating more of the same for you. So we have to learn to rise above our environment, thinking and feeling beyond what our senses are currently telling us. So understanding that our internal state of being is going to create our external. So we have to live in this state of faith, or this state of knowing that if we think new thoughts and feel new feelings, eventually our external environment will collapse to give us that reality. But we have to become greater than our environment, meaning despite what's going on, despite your routines, you got to think the thoughts that you want to think of: peace, of love, of joy, of gratitude, of abundance. And you got to feel the emotions. So those thoughts will cause you to feel certain emotions. So that's the first thing, overcoming your environment. So there, I want you to practice generating these elevated emotions. So gratitude, joy, excitement, before your external world gives you a reason. That's the key right there. That is the key. If you can understand that concept, you can cultivate these states of being on the inside by thinking abundant thoughts. You have a gratitude journal, or you're being thankful, or you're being excited about things, or you just want to cultivate inner peace. These are things that you just cultivate when you wake up in the morning. You sit down in silence in your meditation, and you cultivate these states, and you go out into your day and you hold them. And yeah, things are going to knock you out, but if you can be the awareness that recognizes, oh, I got knocked out of that peaceful state, let me recenter, go take a walk around the building, take 5 breaths, get back into that peaceful state, that's going to become your new baseline. And over time, you're going to condition the body to a new mind. So the second thing is overcoming your body. So your body has become conditioned to your emotions, and it's addicted to them like a drug addict, literally like a drug addict. Because what happens is when you think a certain thought, it triggers what's called a neurotransmitter in your brain, which creates a neuropeptide, which is a chemical signature that gets sent to the hormonal sites on your body. So when you're constantly thinking guilty thoughts or fearful thoughts, let's use fear for example. You're constantly thinking fearful thoughts about what's going to happen at work, what's going to happen with my kid, what's going to happen with this, what's going to happen with that. You're activating that fear neurotransmitter, which is sending fearful neuropeptides or chemical signatures to your body. And over time, if you're thinking that way, months on end, years on end, people are thinking this way for years. Like I was thinking this way for, 7, 8 years, 10 years. And your body becomes conditioned. The hormonal sites on your body actually adapt to want to take in more of that chemical. So just like someone who drinks coffee, say you haven't drinking coffee in a while, you drink 1 cup and it gives you that caffeine buzz. And then after you've been drinking it for a couple months, you need like 3 cups of coffee to do the same thing as 1. It's the same thing with your body. If you've been thinking fearful thoughts over and over and over and over again, those hormonal sites begin to adapt and they need more to get the same hit, basically. So it's going to send signals to your brain to think even more fearful thoughts because it needs more of that chemical. It's this vicious cycle. So over time, we've literally conditioned our body. If you think about thoughts as little droplets in the bucket of the body, each time you think a thought, it's a drop in the bucket, drop in the bucket, drop in the bucket. So over the course of a day or a few weeks, it's not a huge difference, but over the course of months, things begin to change. Your body become reconditioned, right? So I want you to think about that. As you think peaceful and joyful thoughts, you may get knocked out of it pretty easily throughout the day, but understand that every time that you return to those peaceful thoughts, to those loving thoughts, you're putting in a new drop into the bucket, a new water, and you're trying to fill up that bucket with a water charged with peace or love or joy or gratitude, whatever you want. So that is what we need to do. We need to overcome our body, right? And that's why it's so hard to change. We say, I'm going to be grateful today, I'm not going to complain. And then an hour later, you're complaining. Why? Right? But say your body is fiending for that frustration chemical. When you try to be grateful, your body's like, whoa, what's going on? You've been giving us this frustration chemical for the past 2 years. What the heck is going on? It's like code red down there. And it sends a signal up to your brain basically to say, hey, what's going on? We need to produce more of this chemical. You start to think these thoughts again, right? So it's a chemical thing, but you must become greater than your body, teaching it that the mind, not past emotion, is in charge, right? Because right now the past emotion that's conditioned in your body is really running your life versus like your mind is in control. So you got to condition your body. Think about like droplets in a bucket. Fill that bucket up with the emotion you want. Listen, the work is always returning. Okay, you fall into this pattern of fear or worry or guilt or whatever it is, or lack. You fall into that pattern, it's okay. Forgive yourself, because you being hard on yourself for falling into it is also a negative frequency. That's also not helping. Oh, I can't believe I did this. I suck, like XYZ. You have to forgive yourself and move on and just keep going, keep going, keep going. That's the biggest thing. For me, I did that a lot. I would just be like down on myself, like, oh, I can't believe I got out of the frequency XYZ, but that in and of itself is more of a negative frequency. That's why forgiveness is key. You fall off, you recognize, you forgive, and then you go back to the state, right? And that's like the muscle you're building. And over time, you condition your body to a new baseline. Third thing is overcoming time, okay? So we're constantly living in anticipation of the future, or memory of the past traps us in a cycle of predictable creation. So basically what happens is, because I had a bad sales call on Friday, I'm going to have bad sales calls next week. So the past is literally creating our future, and we stay in this loop. Oh, because in the past I haven't been good at talking to people. In the future, I'm not going to be good at talking to people. Because in the past I bombed on the presentation. In the future, I'm going to bomb on the presentation. Because in the past I haven't been wealthy. In the future, I'm probably not going to be wealthy. So your past is literally creating your future. And time is not even real. We need to understand that. It's a construct of the mind. It's how our mind puts together how we move through space and time in this 3D world. That's all it is. There's only one eternal now. Really think about that concept. I want you to think about that, because that's something that really might take a little bit to wrap your head around. There's no such thing as time. Time is an illusion. It's a construct of the mind. That's how the mind thinks. Oh, I was at this point in space, at the grocery store a little bit ago. Now I'm at this point in space, and the distance between A and B, that is time. But everything happens in the eternal now. So if you understand that right now in the present moment, your past has literally zero bearing on what is going on right now. No matter what happened in the past, you were the worst person of all time, you sucked at everything, XYZ, has no bearing on you choosing to be who you want to be right now and starting to cultivate the person you want to become. So when you live in that generous present moment filled with infinite possibilities, that is the key to overcoming time. So like I said, emotional memories, trauma, or failure, they shape our expectations of what's coming next, when in reality, they don't have any bearing on what's coming next. I think the biggest thing here that I want all of us to do is, for this episode, is to sit down. Sit down, pause, imagine that future self that you want to be. Visualization is a powerful thing. Like our imagination literally creates our reality. It's our imagination. We all get taught, oh no, imagination is for kids. No, imagination is what creates our reality. If you think about anything that's ever been built or invented in this entire universe. It all started in the mind, in someone's imagination. A house, an apartment building, the rocket ship to the moon, flying planes, the train, the car, all of these things, the computer, the iPhone, these were all in someone's imagination. So you can use your imagination to create the reality you want. Use your imagination to create the reality in the routine that you want. How are you going throughout your day? How are you reacting to your environment? How are you cultivating those internal states and being greater than your environment? How are you handling, overcoming your body when you slip into these states? Are you forgiving yourself? X, Y, Z. Paint this vivid mental movie. I want you to create this mental movie of your future self, the 2.0, Stacy 2.0, John 2.0. What does that look like? And really be vivid with it. The visuals as well as the emotionals, and put yourself in there. That's one of the biggest benefits of meditation. So wrapping this up, to break the habit of being yourself, you must free your consciousness or your awareness from the familiar pulls of the environment, body, and time. You are the observer, okay? You're the quantum creator. And true transformation requires you to think greater than your surroundings, feel greater than your emotions, and live greater than your past or future. This is the inner work. This is what we're here for. This is what our community is for. You must become the new version of yourself before you see the new version of your world. That's just what it is. And that's why you need faith. You need to walk in faith. You need to create this person in your mind that you want to be, this 2.0 version of yourself, and you just got to be it. And you got to walk in faith. And that's what faith is. Faith is the belief in things unseen, something. It's from the Bible, but it's really good. But that's faith. You create that 2.0 version of yourself, and you are going out into the world, and you are holding it until it becomes reality. I was watching actually a Tony Robbins, I Am Not Your Guru on Netflix, and he was like, I created this guy. Tony Robbins, I literally created him. He had no money in his bank account. He's like, God's money is flowing to me at all given times, X, Y, Z. And you literally create who you want to be in your mind. You walk in faith, and you don't stop until you become that person. And that's what we're here for, help you get there. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with somebody who's ready to change their reality. Follow and subscribe for weekly episodes here. Monday, 6 a.m. is when I'm releasing these. I want to get these to you before your week so you can put yourself into the right state of mind for the week. So I'll get those out at 6 a.m. And again, we're here to help you do the inner work that creates outer success. So tune in next Monday, and we will explore another pillar of the BUILT framework. See ya.